Park Soo-min had spent 3 years learning alien languages. She could speak 17 of them now. The Galactic Council thought she was useful because she could translate during meetings. They did not know what else she was capable of doing. The Council ship moved through dark space like a silver fish swimming through a black ocean. Soo-min stood near a window and watched the stars pass by. She was the only human on a ship with 200 aliens. Most of them did not like humans very much. "You are awake late," said a voice behind her. Soo-min turned around. Ambassador Threx stood there. He was a Villani, tall and thin with gray skin and 4 eyes. His species had been part of the Council for 10,000 years. They thought they were very important. "I could not sleep," Soo-min said. "Where are we going?" "The captain changed our course 6 hours ago." Threx made a sound that meant he was uncomfortable. "That is Council business. Not your concern. I am the translator. Everything is my concern." The ambassador looked at her with all 4 of his eyes. Humans made him nervous. He had read the files about Earth, a planet where the water could crush you, the air could burn you, and the animals wanted to eat you. How did anything survive there? How did these soft creatures become so dangerous? "We received a distress signal," Threx finally said, "from the Lumari homeworld." Soo-min felt her stomach tighten. The Lumari were a peaceful species. They looked like small bears with golden fur and big round eyes. They had no weapons. They had no military. They made beautiful music and grew flowers that could cure diseases. Everyone in the galaxy loved the Lumari. "What kind of distress?" she asked. "The Kethrani Empire has invaded their planet." Soo-min knew about the Kethrani. They were warriors. Their empire controlled 40 star systems. They took whatever they wanted because nobody was strong enough to stop them. The Council always talked about doing something, but they never actually did anything. "So we are going to help them?" Soo-min asked. Threx looked away. "We are going to observe the situation." "Observe?" "The Lumari are being attacked right now. They have no way to defend themselves. The Council must discuss our options. We cannot act without proper debate. There are protocols. There are procedures." Soo-min stared at him. This was why the galaxy was falling apart. Too much talking. Not enough doing. The Lumari could all be dead by the time the Council finished their debate. "How long until we arrive?" she asked. 18 hours. Soo-min nodded and walked away. She needed to think. In her small room, she opened her personal computer and started reading everything she could find about the Kethrani. They were big, twice the size of humans. They had thick armor plates on their bodies and claws that could cut through metal. Their ships were fast and their weapons were powerful, but they had weaknesses too. Every species did. The Kethrani were afraid of fire. Their home planet was cold and wet. They had never developed resistance to heat. Their armor was strong but heavy. It made them slow, and they were arrogant. They thought they could not lose because they had never lost before. Soo-min smiled. Arrogance was always a weakness. She spent the next 6 hours planning. She looked at maps of the Lumari homeworld. She studied the Kethrani military formations. She counted their ships and their soldiers. The numbers were not good. The Kethrani had brought 15,000 warriors. The Lumari had nothing. But numbers were not everything. When morning came on the ship, Soo-min went to the council chamber. All 12 ambassadors were there, sitting around a big circular table. They were arguing, as usual. "We cannot interfere in sovereign matters," said Ambassador Errol from the Torvan Republic. She was small and blue with tentacles instead of arms. "The Lumari asked for help," said Ambassador Kren from the Jexian Federation. He was made of living crystal, and his voice sounded like breaking glass. "Help is expensive," said Ambassador Threx. "What do we gain from helping them?" The Lumari have no military value, no strategic resources. Sumin listened to them argue for an hour. They talked about politics. They talked about economics. They talked about history and tradition and proper procedure. Nobody talked about the Lumari dying on their own planet. Finally, she stepped forward. "I request permission to speak," she said. The ambassadors looked at her with surprise. Translators did not speak in council meetings. They only translated. "This is not appropriate," Freck said. "Let her speak," said Ambassador Kren. "I want to hear what the human has to say." Su Min took a deep breath. "You have been talking for hours about what you might lose if you help the Lumari. But you have not talked about what you will lose if you do not help them. And what is that?" Earl asked. "Everything. The Kethrani are testing you. They want to see if the council will stop them. If you do nothing, they will know they can do anything. Next time, they will attack someone else. Then someone else. Eventually, they will attack one of you." The chamber was silent. "The Lumari are not just a species," Su Min continued. "They are a symbol. They represent everything good in this galaxy. Their music, their medicine, their kindness. If you let them die, you are telling the universe that kindness has no value, that only strength matters." She looked at each ambassador in turn. "Humans have a saying. The only thing necessary for evil to win is for good people to do nothing. You are good people. I believe that. But right now, you are doing nothing." Threk stood up. "The human makes an emotional argument. We need facts, not feelings." "Fine," Su Min said. "Here are some facts. The Kethrani force has 15,000 soldiers, but they only have enough supplies for 30 days. Their communication system uses a frequency that can be jammed. Their commander has lost 3 battles in his career, all of them against enemies who used unconventional tactics." The ambassadors stared at her. "How do you know all this?" Kren asked. Su Min smiled. "I read. It is amazing what you can learn if you actually pay attention." She pulled out her computer and projected a map in the center of the table. "This is my plan to save the Lumari. It will work, but I need your help to do it." The council voted against helping the Lumari, 9-3. It was not even close. Su Min stood in the chamber and watched the ambassadors leave. They walked past her like she was not there. Only Ambassador Kren stopped. "Your plan was good," he said. His crystal body reflected the lights in rainbow colors. "But the council is afraid. Fear makes people stupid." "Then I will go alone," Su Min said. Kren made a sound like wind chimes. It was how his species laughed. "One human against 15,000 Kethrani? That is not brave. That is suicide. Maybe. But I have to try." The Crystal Ambassador studied her for a long moment. "Humans are strange. You know you will probably die. Yet you still want to go. Why?" Su Min thought about the question. It was a good question. She was not a soldier. She was not strong. She had no weapons or army. Going to the Lumari planet was the most dangerous thing she could do. Any reasonable person would stay on the ship where it was safe. But she kept thinking about the Lumari, their golden fur and gentle eyes, the way they sang songs to their children at night, the medicine they had created that saved millions of lives across the galaxy. They had never hurt anyone. They only wanted to live in peace. And now they were being slaughtered by monsters who wanted to take their planet. "Because someone has to," Su Min finally said. "If everyone waits for someone else to help, then no one helps. And the Lumari die." Kren was quiet for a moment. Then he reached into a pouch on his side and pulled out a small crystal. "Take this. It is a communication stone. If you need to contact me, speak into it, and I will hear you." "Thank you." "Do not thank me yet. I still think you will die." Su Min smiled. Humans are hard to kill. You would be surprised. She left the chamber and went to the shuttle bay. The council ship had several small transport vessels for moving people and supplies. Su-min found one that was old and not being used. She climbed inside and started the engine. The shuttle was small but fast. It could reach the Lumari planet in 12 hours if she pushed the engines hard enough. She programmed the course and sat back in the pilot chair. For the next few hours, she planned that the Kethrani had already landed on the Lumari planet. They had set up a base near the capital city. From the reports she had intercepted, they were capturing Lumari and putting them in camps. The Kethrani wanted slaves. The Lumari were perfect workers because they were small and obedient and never fought back. Su-min felt angry when she thought about it. The Lumari trusted the galaxy to protect them. They had joined the Galactic Council because they believed in cooperation and peace. And now the galaxy was letting them down. Well, not all of the galaxy. Not her. When she was 8 hours from the planet, her communication system beeped. Someone was trying to contact her. She answered and saw Ambassador Threx on the screen. "What do you think you are doing?" He demanded. "You stole a council shuttle. I borrowed it. I will bring it back. This is unauthorized. You have no permission to interfere in this situation. I do not need permission to do the right thing." Threx made a frustrated sound. "You are one human. What can you possibly do against an entire army?" "I do not know yet, but I will figure it out. You are going to die for nothing." "Maybe, but at least I tried. Can you say the same?" She ended the communication before he could respond. The Lumari planet appeared on her screen 6 hours later. It was beautiful. Green and blue and white, with 3 small moons circling around it. From space, it looked peaceful. But she knew that on the surface, terrible things were happening. She scanned for Kethrani ships. There were 20 of them in orbit, forming a blockade around the planet. Big warships with powerful weapons. If they spotted her shuttle, they would destroy it in seconds. But Su-min had thought about this problem. The Lumari planet had a lot of small asteroids nearby, mining rocks that the Lumari used for building materials. She could hide her shuttle among them and approach the planet slowly, looking like just another piece of space debris. It took 4 more hours, but she made it through the blockade. Her shuttle entered the atmosphere at night, when the darkness would hide her landing. She found a forest far from the Kethrani base and sat down between the giant trees. When she stepped outside, the air was warm and smelled like flowers. Small creatures with glowing wings flew through the trees like living stars. It was the most beautiful place she had ever seen. And somewhere nearby, innocent people were being taken from their homes and put in chains. Su-min checked her equipment. She had a small energy pistol that she had taken from the shuttle emergency kit, a knife, a flashlight, some food and water. Not much for fighting an army. But she was not planning to fight. She was planning to outsmart them. The Kethrani base was 50 kilometers away. She started walking. The forest was thick and dark, but the glowing creatures lit her path. After a few hours, she heard sounds ahead. Crying, screaming, the sounds of people in pain. She climbed a hill and looked down at what she saw. The Kethrani had built their camp in a valley. Bright lights lit up metal buildings and fences with sharp wire on top. Inside the fences, hundreds of Lumari were crowded together. They hugged each other and wept. Guards walked around the edge of the camp, carrying big weapons and laughing at the prisoners. Near the center of the camp was a large building. The command center, Su-min guessed. That was where the leader would be. That was where she needed to go. But first, she needed allies. She moved around the edge of the camp until she found what she was looking for. A small group of Lumari hiding in the trees. They had escaped the capture and were watching the camp from a distance. When they saw her, they were terrified. They had never seen a human before. She must have looked like a monster to them. "It is okay," she said in their language. She had learned it 2 years ago from recordings. "I am a friend. I came to help you." One of the Lumari stepped forward. She was older than the others, with silver in her golden fur. "Who are you?" she asked. "My name is Park Sumin. I am human, and I have a plan to save your people." The old Lumari looked at her with big, sad eyes. "The council sent you?" Sumin shook her head. "No, the council voted not to help. I came on my own. One creature against all of them? Sometimes one is enough. If that one is willing to do whatever it takes." The old Lumari was quiet for a moment. Then she reached out and touched Sumin's hand. "I am Elder Myra. These are the survivors of my village. What do you need us to do?" Sumin smiled. "First, tell me everything you know about the Kathrani commander. Every weakness, every habit, everything." The old Lumari nodded. "His name is General Vrak, and he is afraid of one thing above all others." "What?" "Fire. All Kathrani fear fire. It is their oldest nightmare." Sumin's smile grew wider. "Then let us give him a nightmare he will never forget." Elder Mira told Sumin everything she knew about General Vrak. He was old for a Kathrani, almost 200 years. He had conquered 11 worlds in his career. He collected trophies from his victories. He was proud and cruel and did not like to be embarrassed. Most importantly, he was afraid, not of battle, not of death. Vrak feared only one thing: fire. When he was young, his ship had caught fire during a war. He had watched his brothers burn while he escaped. The memory haunted him. He never used fire weapons. He never went near flames. Even a small candle made him nervous. Sumin knew she could use this fear. But she needed more than just fire. She needed a plan that would make the entire Kathrani army run away. She spent the night talking with the Lumari survivors. There were 47 of them. Old ones, young ones, children who had lost their parents. They were scared and sad, but they wanted to help. They wanted to save their people. "The Kathrani have a weakness," Sumin explained. "Their communication system uses a specific frequency. If we jam that frequency, they cannot talk to each other. Their soldiers will be confused. Their ships in orbit will not know what is happening on the ground." Elder Mira nodded. "We have technology that can do this. Our singing crystals. They produce sound waves that can interfere with electronic signals." "Perfect. Can you gather enough crystals to create a wide jamming field?" "Yes, but it will take time. At least 2 days." Sumin did not have 2 days. Every hour, more Lumari were being captured. More families were being torn apart. She needed to move faster. "What if I go into the camp now?" she said. "I can cause a distraction. Something to keep the Kathrani busy while you prepare the crystals." "You will be captured or killed," Elder Myra said. "Maybe, but if I can get inside their command center, I can learn more about their plans. I can find out how many soldiers they have, where their weapons are stored. Information that will help us win." The old Lumari looked at her with worried eyes. "You would risk your life for people you do not even know." "Why?" Sumin thought about the question. She had asked herself the same thing many times. Why did she care so much? The Lumari were not her species. They were not her family. She had nothing to gain from helping them. But that was not how humans worked. At least, not the humans she wanted to be like. "On my world," she said, "we have a story. A man was walking on a beach covered with starfish that had washed up from the ocean. There were thousands of them dying in the sun. He started picking them up one by one and throwing them back into the water. Someone asked him why he bothered. He could not save them all. It was pointless. But the man picked up another starfish and threw it into the waves. Then he said, it mattered to that one. Elder Mira was quiet for a long moment. Then she reached out and took Su-min's hands in her small furry paws. I understand now. You are not trying to save everyone. You are trying to save whoever you can, because each life matters. Yes, that is exactly right. The next morning, Su-min walked toward the Kethrani camp. She carried no weapons. She wore simple clothes. She looked like exactly what she was, a translator who had wandered into the wrong place. The guards spotted her quickly. They were huge, twice her size, with dark green armor plates and yellow eyes. They pointed their weapons at her and shouted in their harsh language. Stop! What are you? How did you get here? Su-min raised her hands. I am human. My shuttle crashed in the forest. I need help. The guards looked at each other. They had heard of humans but never seen one. This small, soft creature did not look dangerous. She looked lost and scared. Take her to the commander, one guard said. He will want to question her. They grabbed Su-min roughly and dragged her through the camp. She kept her eyes open, counting everything she saw. Guard towers, weapons storage buildings, the prison fence where the Lumari were kept. She memorized every detail. The command center was a big metal building in the middle of the camp. Inside it was cold and dark. Kethrani did not like light or heat. They came from a world of ice and shadow. General Vrak sat on a chair that looked like a throne. He was the biggest Kethrani Su-min had ever seen. His armor was black instead of green, and scars covered his face. His yellow eyes studied her like a predator examining prey. A human, he said. His voice was deep and rough. I have heard stories about your kind. They say you are dangerous. They are right, Su-min said. Vrak laughed. It was an ugly sound. You are small and weak. You have no claws, no armor. What makes you dangerous? My mind. The general leaned forward. Bold words for a prisoner. Tell me, human, why are you really here? The council sent you to spy on us? The council voted not to help the Lumari. I came alone. Vrak stared at her. You came alone? Against my entire army? That is either very brave or very stupid. Humans are often both. The general was quiet for a moment. Then he stood up and walked toward her. He was so big that his shadow covered her completely. I do not believe you. No creature is stupid enough to attack an army by herself. You must have a plan. Tell me what it is. I do have a plan, Su-min said. But I will not tell you. Vrak grabbed her by the throat and lifted her off the ground. His claws were cold against her skin. I can make you tell me. I can hurt you in ways you cannot imagine. Su-min struggled to breathe. Her vision was going dark. But she forced herself to smile. You can hurt me, but you cannot break me. Humans do not break easily. We survived ice ages and plagues and wars that killed millions. We climbed out of the mud and reached the stars. Do you really think one Kethrani general can scare me? Something changed in Vrak's eyes. For just a moment, she saw something there. Doubt, uncertainty, maybe even a little fear. He dropped her on the floor. Put her in the prison with the others, he told his guards. I will deal with her later. As the guards dragged her away, Su-min smiled. She was exactly where she wanted to be. Inside the prison fence, she would find the Lumari. She would tell them her plan. And when the time was right, they would all escape together. The Kethrani thought they had captured her. But really, she had captured herself. Because sometimes, the best way to beat your enemy is to let them think they have already won. The prison was worse than Su-min had imagined. Hundreds of Lumari were packed inside a small area surrounded by metal fences. They had no shelter from the sun, no clean water, barely any food. Children cried for their parents. Old ones lay on the ground too weak to move. When the guards threw Su-min inside, the Lumari moved away from her. They were afraid of this strange creature. She did not look like anything they had seen before. Su-Min sat down on the ground and waited. She needed to earn their trust. A young Lumari child walked toward her slowly. She was small, even for her species, with golden fur that was dirty and tangled. Her big eyes were full of curiosity instead of fear. "What are you?" the child asked. "I am human. My name is Su-Min. I am Tiri. Are you a monster?" Su-Min smiled gently. "No, I am a friend. I came to help you." Tiri looked at her for a long moment. Then she sat down next to Su-Min. "I am scared," the child said. "The big creatures hurt my family. They took my mother away." Su-Min felt her heart break. This child had done nothing wrong. She was innocent and kind and did not deserve any of this. "I am scared too," Su-Min admitted. "But being scared does not mean we cannot be brave. Sometimes, the bravest people are the ones who are most afraid, but do the right thing anyway." Tiri nodded slowly. "My mother used to say that." "Your mother sounds wise. We will find her, I promise." More Lumari started to gather around them. They watched the human with suspicious eyes. But the fact that little Tiri was not afraid made them curious. An old male Lumari pushed through the crowd. He had white fur and walked with a limp. His face was stern and tired. "Who are you, stranger? Why have the Kethrani thrown you in here with us?" "My name is Park Su-Min. I came from far away to help you. The Kethrani put me here because they think I am a prisoner like you. But I chose to be captured. It is part of my plan." "Plan? What plan could possibly help us?" "The Kethrani have ships and weapons. We have nothing." Su-Min stood up and faced the crowd. There were hundreds of faces looking at her now. Scared faces. Hopeless faces. Faces that had given up. "I know you are afraid," she said loudly. "I know you think there is no way to escape. The Kethrani are stronger than you. They have an army. They have weapons. And you have nothing but each other." She paused and looked around at all of them. "But you are wrong. You have something the Kethrani do not have. You have hope. You have each other. And now, you have me." The old male Lumari shook his head. "Pretty words. But words cannot break down fences. Words cannot fight soldiers. No, but fire can." A gasp went through the crowd. Fire was rare on the Lumari world. They had no need for it. Their planet was warm, and their technology used crystal energy instead of flames. "The Kethrani are afraid of fire," Su-Min explained. "It is their greatest weakness. Their commander has nightmares about burning. If we create enough fire, we can scare them, confuse them, make them run. How do we create fire? We have no tools, no materials." Su-Min smiled. "The Kethrani gave us everything we need. Look around. The fence posts are made of wood from your forests. The ground is covered with dry grass and leaves. And I have this." She reached into her shoe and pulled out a small metal rectangle. A lighter. She had hidden it before letting herself be captured. The guards had not searched her carefully because they did not think she was a threat. "This is how my people make fire," she said. She clicked the lighter and a small flame appeared. The Lumari stared at it like it was magic. "Tonight, we light fires all around the camp. Small ones at first, then bigger ones. The Kethrani will panic. Their communication system will be jammed by the singing crystals that Elder Mira is preparing outside. They will not be able to coordinate. They will not know what to do. And then what? We just run? No. Then we fight. Not with weapons. With our minds. We spread out. We hide. We make the Kethrani chase shadows. We lead them into the deep forest where they cannot use their big machines. And we keep fighting until they give up and leave. The old Lumari was quiet for a long time. Then he stepped forward and put his hand on Su Min's arm. You are asking us to do something we have never done. We are not fighters. We do not know how to resist. Then I will teach you. Humans have been fighting impossible battles since the beginning of our history. We have faced enemies bigger than us, stronger than us, better armed than us. And we have won. Not because we were more powerful, but because we refused to give up. She looked into his eyes. The Kethrani think you are weak because you are peaceful. They think you will be easy to control because you have never fought before. They are wrong. Peace is not weakness. Kindness is not stupidity. You chose not to fight because you believed in a better way. But when that better way fails, when evil comes to your door and threatens your children, you have the right to defend yourselves. The old Lumari nodded slowly. My name is Elder Koso. I was a teacher before the invasion. I taught young ones how to sing and grow flowers. I never thought I would need to teach them how to fight. You are not teaching them to fight, Su Min said. You are teaching them to survive. There is a difference. Koso turned to face the crowd. The human speaks truth. We have been waiting for someone to save us. But no one is coming. The council has abandoned us. Our only hope is ourselves. He looked back at Su Min. Tell us what to do. We will follow you. That night, while the Kethrani guards slept, Su Min taught the Lumari how to make torches from sticks and torn cloth. She showed them how to move quietly through the grass without being seen. She explained the plan again and again until everyone understood their part. At midnight, she used the crystal that Ambassador Kren had given her. Kren, can you hear me? The crystal glowed and his voice came through, faint but clear. I hear you. Are you still alive? For now. I am inside the Kethrani camp. We are going to escape tonight. But I need you to do something. What? Contact the other council members. Tell them what is happening. If we succeed tonight, the galaxy needs to know that the Lumari are not helpless. That they fought back. That one human helped them. There was a long pause. You want me to embarrass the council? To show that one human did what they were afraid to do? Yes, sometimes shame is the only way to make people change. Kren made his wind chime laugh. I am starting to understand why so many species are afraid of humans. You do not fight fair. We fight to win. There is a difference. Very well. I will do as you ask. Try not to die, Park Su Min. The galaxy needs more humans like you. She smiled and put the crystal away. Then she looked at the fence and the guards beyond it. It is time, she whispered, and the night exploded into fire. The fire started small. A torch here, a burning branch there. But the dry grass caught quickly, and the flames spread faster than anyone expected. Within minutes, a ring of fire surrounded the Kethrani camp. The guards woke up screaming. They ran back and forth, trying to understand what was happening. Their communication devices made nothing but noise. Elder Mira and her group had activated the singing crystals. The jamming field covered the entire valley. Su Min moved through the chaos with a torch in her hand. She touched fire to the wooden fence posts. The dry wood burned easily. Within seconds, a gap opened in the fence big enough for the Lumari to escape. Go, she shouted. Into the forest. Stay together and keep moving. The Lumari ran. Hundreds of them poured through the hole in the fence like water through a broken dam. They carried their children and helped their elders. They were scared, but they did not panic. They remembered what Su Min had taught them. General Vrak emerged from the command center. His yellow eyes were wide with terror. Fire surrounded him on all sides. His worst nightmare had come true. Find them! He roared at his soldiers. Find the prisoners. Find that human. But his soldiers could not hear him. Their communication devices were useless. They could not coordinate. They could not organize. Each squad was alone, fighting shadows in the smoke and flames. Su-min led a group of Lumari toward the deep forest. Elder Koso ran beside her, moving faster than she expected for someone his age. "The commander will send soldiers after us," he said. "Let him. The forest is your home. You know it better than they do. Hide in the places they cannot reach. Move through paths too small for them to follow. Make them fight on your ground, not theirs." Koso nodded. He understood now. Fighting was not just about strength. It was about choosing where and when to fight. It was about using everything you had, even if all you had was knowledge of the land. They ran for hours, through thick trees and narrow valleys, across streams and over hills. The Kethrani followed, but their heavy armor slowed them down. They tripped over roots and got stuck in mud. The forest fought against them like a living thing. By morning, the Lumari had scattered across the land. They hid in caves and hollow trees. They climbed to places the Kethrani could not reach. Small groups of them used the techniques Su-min had taught them. They made noise in one place and attacked from another. They set traps and disappeared before the soldiers could catch them. General Vrak was furious. He had brought 15,000 warriors to conquer a world of peaceful farmers. Now those farmers were making him look like a fool. He found Su-min at noon. She was standing alone in a clearing, waiting for him. The forest was quiet around her. Smoke still rose from the distant camp. "You did this," Vrak growled. "You turned them against us." "I did not turn them against you. You did that yourself when you invaded their home and put their children in cages." The general drew his weapon. It was a massive sword made of dark metal. One swing could cut her in half. "I should have killed you when I had the chance. Yes, that was your mistake." Vrak charged at her with surprising speed for someone so big. Su-min dove to the side, barely avoiding his blade. She was not a fighter. She could not beat him in combat. But she did not need to. She just needed to keep him busy. "The council knows what you did here," she said, rolling away from another swing. "Ambassador Kren is spreading the story across the galaxy. Every species is watching. Every planet is asking why the mighty Kethrani Empire needed 15,000 soldiers to attack farmers who had no weapons." Vrak swung again and missed. His breathing was heavy. His armor was hot from the fires. He was tired and angry and making mistakes. "It does not matter what they think. When I kill you and crush these animals, the galaxy will remember who is strong. No, they will remember that you failed. That one human and a handful of peaceful creatures made the Kethrani army run in circles like scared children. That is your legacy now. Not victory. Failure." Something broke inside General Vrak. The fear he had carried his whole life. The fear of fire and failure and embarrassment. All of it came rushing up at once. He screamed and swung his sword wildly, not aiming at Su-min but at the world itself. And in that moment, Elder Mira's singing crystals stopped jamming and switched to transmitting. Vrak's scream, his terror, his breakdown, was broadcast to every Kethrani ship in orbit. His soldiers heard their commander losing his mind. They saw their communication screens showing a human woman, dodging their general's clumsy attacks while he screamed like a frightened child. The first ship left orbit an hour later. Then another. Then another. By sunset, half the fleet was gone. The soldiers on the ground started retreating toward their landing ships. Without Vrak to lead them, without communications to coordinate them, they had no idea what to do. They were warriors, not thinkers. They followed orders. And now there were no orders to follow. Su-min watched them leave from the top of a hill. Elder Koso stood beside her. Behind them, hundreds of Lumari emerged from the forest. They watched their invaders retreat with tears in their eyes. You did it, Koso said. You saved us. We saved us. I just helped. The old Lumari shook his head. No, you did more than help. You showed us that we could fight. That we had strength we did not know we had. That is a gift we will never forget. Little Tiri ran up and wrapped her arms around Sumin's legs. She was crying but smiling at the same time. You found my mother. She was in the camp. She got out because of you. Sumin knelt down and hugged the child. I am glad. Take care of her, okay? And take care of yourself. A week later, the council ship arrived. All 12 ambassadors came down to the surface to see what had happened. They walked through the burned camp. They talked to the Lumari survivors. They heard the story of one human who had done what they were afraid to do. Ambassador Threx approached Sumin. His 4 eyes were hard to read, but she thought she saw something like shame in them. You made us look foolish, he said. No, you made yourselves look foolish. I just reminded everyone that there was another way. Threx was quiet for a long moment. Then he did something unexpected. He bowed his head. You were right. In the council chamber, you said the only thing necessary for evil to win is for good people to do nothing. We were doing nothing. You showed us what one person can do when they choose to act. Does this mean the council will protect the Lumari now? Yes, we have voted unanimously to provide military protection for their planet. No one will invade them again. Sumin smiled. Good. That is all I wanted. She turned and looked at the Lumari gathering behind her. Elder Koso, Elder Myra, little Tiri and her mother. Hundreds of faces she had come to know and love over the past week. Will you stay? Koso asked. I cannot. There are other places that need help. Other people who feel alone and afraid. But I will never forget you. And if you ever need me again, I will come. She walked back to her shuttle, the one she had borrowed from the council. As she climbed inside, she looked back one more time. The Lumari were singing. A soft, beautiful song that floated through the air like light. A song of thanks. A song of hope. A song for the human who had crossed the stars to save strangers. She had never met. Su-Min wiped her eyes and started the engine. The galaxy was big and full of darkness. But as long as there were people willing to light even one small fire, the darkness would never win. She set her course for the next star and flew into the endless night, ready for whatever came next.